AITA for refusing to go to my brother's wedding after finding out my future SIL trash-talked me at her bachelorette party. Story 1. Advice needed. I feel like I'm going crazy right now and I could really use some advice. So I, 28F, have always been pretty close to my brother, Mark, 32M. We're not like best friends or anything, but we've always had a good relationship. When he met Sarah, 30F, I was genuinely happy for him. She seemed nice enough and we got along okay, or so I thought. A couple weeks ago, Sarah had her bachelorette party. I wasn't invited, which hurt a bit, but I figured maybe it was just close friends or whatever. I didn't think too much of it at the time. But then, a friend of mine who was at the party called me up a few days ago, sounding really awkward. She told me she needed to tell me something, but she didn't know how I'd take it. Apparently at the bachelorette, Sarah got pretty Dr. NK and started talking major trash about me. She called me a whore and even claimed I was having an affair with my married neighbor. She said I'm always flirting with him and that I'd spread my legs for anyone. The other girls were laughing and agreeing with her, and no one said anything to stop it. I was honestly shocked. First off, I'm not having an affair with my neighbor. He's just a friendly guy, and we chat sometimes, but nothing more. And to hear Sarah say such disgusting things about me behind my back, especially when I thought we were on good terms. It hurt. A lot. I confronted Mark about it, hoping he'd understand where I'm coming from, but he was so dismissive. He said Sarah was just Dr. NK and didn't mean it, and that I'm overreacting. He even suggested maybe my friend misheard or was exaggerating. But I trust my friend, and the way she told me, it seemed like Sarah really believed what she was saying. I told Mark I wasn't sure I could go to the wedding after hearing all that. He got super mad and accused me of making everything about myself, saying I should just suck it up and support him on his big day. He thinks I should just let it go for the sake of keeping the peace in the family. But I feel so hurt and humiliated. I don't know how I can stand there and celebrate when the bride thinks I'm this awful person and is spreading lies that could ruin my reputation. I'm seriously considering not going to the wedding at all. So, AITA for thinking about skipping my brother's wedding after finding out what Sarah said about me. Or am I being too sensitive and should just go to keep the family peace? First comment. Your NTA, I'll stop talking to them, don't say a word either, don't show, or just invite the neighbor and his wife GF if he has one. That will show them nope, your SIL made it about you. Your brother and SIL, especially SIL, are the please update on what you decide to do. Second comment. I do hope these rumors of SILs don't get to the neighbor and his wife. This could cause a lot of problems for them if she starts wondering. Someone should probably warn her somehow. Hopefully they have a good relationship and she knows better than to think hubby is up to anything. Sounds like your STB sister-in-law has a lot of growing up to do. Third comment. I wouldn't go. I'd write a speech and let your friend deliver it. Something along the lines of I couldn't make it today. It was the only app your lawyer had available, and these damn cease and desist requests can be so tricky. But don't worry, this wubbery who spreads her legs for anyone wanted to make sure to celebrate her SIL in a big way. So here's a list of all the men she has or has wanted to spread her legs for, and I'd list every damn man she knows, all of your brother's buddies, her friend's brother, fathers, her mailman, upsky, LOLL. Then say I guess now she's just gonna have to settle for your brother and how it might be a stretch to muscles, keeping her legs closed for that long. Congrats to the two-faced backstabbing couple. I hope that for every disgusting lie you've spoken about me to add an ounce of marital bliss to your marriage with my equally complicit brother. After all, you've spoken so many, it should last you an eternity. Oh, and by the way, you were always his second choice. Story 2. AITA for wanting to break up over my girlfriend's drive NK mistake. Advice needed. Throwaway account because I'm really at a loss here and just want to get some outside perspectives. My girlfriend 26F and I 28M have been dating for about 2 years. We've always had a strong, loving relationship, and I thought we were heading towards something serious. A few days ago, she went out with her friends to celebrate a friend's birthday. I had to work late and couldn't join them, but I told her to go and have fun. I trusted her completely, never had any doubts that she'd be safe with her friends. The next day, she came over to my place looking really upset. I thought something bad had happened to her or her friends. We sat down, and she told me she needed to confess something. My heart sank because I could tell it was serious, but I had no idea what was coming. She explained that she got really Dr. NK that night, way more than usual. While she was at the bar, she saw a guy who looked just like me. In her Dr. NK state, she thought it was me and went up to him. She called out my name, and he just smiled and started talking to her. So she ended up spending the rest of the night with this guy, thinking it was me. She kept calling him by my name, and apparently he never corrected her. They danced, talked, and left the bar together. She said she was convinced it was me even when they left. This is where my heart actually stopped. It wasn't until she woke up the next morning in a stranger's bed that she realized it wasn't me. She was horrified, left quickly, and came over to confess everything. She was crying and said she never meant to cheat on me and that it was a horrible mistake because she genuinely thought she was with me the whole time. I'm in dispute with myself. On one hand, I get that she was Dr. NK and confused, but on the other hand, she still ended up sleeping with someone else. It hurts so much to think about, even though she says she thought it was me. I love her, but I'm struggling to see how I can trust her again after this. AITA for thinking about breaking up over this? I am pretty insecure when it comes to trust and cheating inside a relationship, but she still cheated. Even if it was in her vulnerable state, she was still honest about it and seems to regret it deeply, but I am not sure. Plus, her friends were there and knew me. They could have stepped in or done something. First comment. I was at a bar with a group of friends recently. One friend was visiting with her husband from out of state. She was blackout drive NK, falling over, but somehow still dancing the night away. Her husband and I are the same height, same hair color, have beards, and honestly just look a lot alike. At one point she sees me and throws her arms around my neck and starts SEC dancing. I just stood there with a SAT-eating grin on my face. After about 5 seconds, she notices her mistake, jumps away from me, and looks to see her husband cracking up nearby. That is how Dr. Nkinley mistaking someone for your partner works. A few seconds, understandable, spending the entire night together, and F-King is not how it works. Second comment. Yay, this is such BS. Even if you black out and have no recollection of the night's events, your brain still has the ability to recognize people. But she clearly didn't black out because she knows what she did. So she's just trying to save face with this story. There is no way in hell she mistook a stranger for her BF. She'd have to be drugged for this to make any kind of sense, but again, she wouldn't remember what had transpired and would be calling it RP, not a mistake. I'm just so confused by this. Even if this is somehow 100% true, I would not trust her to make sound decisions. And I definitely think her choice in friends is horrible if they didn't do anything to stop her. Just WTF. Third comment, NTA. The story isn't adding up. Where were her friends? Why didn't they stop her? Even worse, why did they let her, obviously and heavily inebriated, leave with a stranger? The blackout Drew NK part, I guess it could be true. Every time I think back on my blackout nights, I barely remember it, but at the same time, I don't recall ever misidentifying some either, especially someone as significant as my partner. On the off chance, though I think it's very slim, that she's being completely truthful, GF actually might have a case in her hands. It sounds like she could have been taken advantage of if she was as Dr. NK as she's claiming she was. I know it's painful, but ask about the next morning she woke up. What was that interaction like? And also, definitely ask her friends to see who's willing to talk. There's usually at least one person LOL. Story 3. AITA for telling my sister-in-law she can't babysit anymore after what she said about my cooking? I 27F have always been close to my family, and we have a tradition of big family dinners every Sunday. Recently, my sister-in-law, Chloe 31F, moved to our city, and she's been joining us for these dinners. I enjoy cooking and usually take pride in preparing meals for everyone. However, Chloe has a habit of making snide remarks about my cooking, saying things like, "It's good, but my mom's recipe is so much better," or "Did you use a recipe? It tastes a bit off." I brushed off her comments at first, trying to keep the peace, but it started to get under my skin. Last Sunday, after spending hours preparing a special meal, Chloe made another comment, "Maybe next time you should let me handle the cooking." We wouldn't want anyone to get food poisoning, she laughed, but it didn't feel like a joke to me. Feeling hurt and embarrassed in front of the whole family, I told her that if she didn't like my cooking, she didn't have to eat it. I also mentioned that her negative comments were unwelcome, especially in front of my kids who were starting to pick up on the tension. Now Chloe is upset and claims I'm overreacting and being too sensitive. She says she was just teasing and that it's harmless fun. My husband thinks I should apologize to keep the peace, but I'm not sure. AITA for telling my sister-in-law she can't babysit anymore after her constant criticism of my cooking? First comment. NTA, you're right about that negativity in front of the children. They will take their cues from what they see, and if they are continually exposed to her teasing in a negative way and making jokes by putting you down, then they will start to think it's okay to behave that way. Either she puts a stop to it or she isn't welcome in your home, and your husband should be sticking up for you. Second comment. Why not just call her bluff, let her cook, or just stop inviting her? Why are you including your kids babysitting in the situation? This is just between you, Chloe. The issue is her behavior at dinner. Is she also disrespectful to your kids? You don't need to apologize. Chloe created the problem. She was rude, disrespectful. She needs to own her own participation. Why all should have a conversation, privately discuss your perspective of the situation. Ask her what exactly her thoughts are about your cooking. What is the point of her snarky comments? Third comment. You are threatening her with not babysitting? I would instead threaten her with no longer being invited to your family dinners. That would be more appropriate. She was rude and a bad guest. NTA.